Welcome to the Multiplayer Podcast, the video game podcast that is too legit to quit. Each week we break down a different multiplayer game, talk a little bit about our week, and just goof around. If you read the show title, you'll see that we're talking about Rainbow Six Siege. We didn't have it on the schedule, and we announced that we were going to talk about Bleeding Edge. But we didn't feel like we had a grip on that game yet to give it a fair review. Sometimes you don't like the game because it's the game, and sometimes you don't like the game because you're just bad at the game. So this week we are covering Rainbow Six Siege. And that means we are joined by the newest operators. Paul?
That was a great MC Hammer drop there, Todd. Loved it. Very timely. You gotta get those kids.
And Josh.
Yeah, too legit to quit. Except for Bleeding Edge, which we quit on this week. But we may we just we started playing this game and then we thought, man, it's going to be too soon to try to talk about this game and feel like we've got it covered and can present that information along. So we pivot to
okay, Ross.
to Rainbow Six instead. So we may or may not cycle back to Bleeding Edge at some point.
If it's successful, we definitely will.
Yeah.
If it just doesn't do well,
it's a fun game.
Maybe not.
Like what we've played so far has been fun, with the exception of the stun locks. Yeah. Which we started last week and we're still stun locked. I think Paul is still stunned to this day.
Yep. So many of the characters have stuns. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're not very good at the game. It's another thing when you're continually stunned and can't move. So, I think as we play it more, we'll probably get used to it, play different characters, try to figure it out. But yeah, probably just a little early to try to cover it at this point.
All right, guys. How have you guys been this week? Quarantine week 87.
I got a confession, guys. I'm getting fat, man. I normally try to stay healthy. I've always thought like, hey, I can go at any given point, I can go run a couple miles, and I want to be able to like escape a bear if life ever calls for that situation. And man,
which happens a lot in Phoenix.
It
Arizona.
does, yes, it does. But that's my goal. Is like I feel like I should be able to run a couple miles, and then no bears catching me.
I don't think you'll ever be fit enough to outrun a bear.
Don't slander my fitness, okay? It depends on the bear. First of all,
I think bears. Like I don't know the average land speed of a bear, but it's more than I think what you're capable of.
Now, if you're talking about a North American grizzly, then maybe not, okay? But if you're talking about a South Asian panda, I got that guy beat.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
My bear strategy is more of like travel with someone you don't really like that much, and then just like kick their legs.
You don't have to be the fastest. You just can't be the slowest. But right now, with the amount of bad food that this quarantine has forced upon me, I'm feeling slow. I'm feeling, I'm like right now, I am definitely like a bear, just dessert. Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Josh, you're a pretty small guy to begin with. Does this mean we're like stretching those small shirts? Like adult size small?
All right. I've always been a fan of the schmedium shirts. I like to show off the guns a little bit. I admit that. Okay. But I had to loosen my watch band today.
Oh.
That's when like the shame hit. I was like, wait, did I do something wrong? And I looked down and I was like, no, that's the same hole it's always been on, but it's starting to dig a little bit. So
I just imagine you guys have seen Zombieland, right? You know how they're obsessed with Twinkies.
Yeah, who is
it? Well, Josh was super obsessed with Twinkies, except there was always Twinkies, so he just kept on eating them. There was never a shortage.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the pastries. I'm not gonna lie. So, but yeah, that's my confession. But tomorrow we're hitting keto again hard. So I will no longer be the bear treats.
Didn't Josh say this like 5 weeks ago?
I did
or
not,
6
Paul.
weeks ago?
No, I did
that
not.
You were going
say
back
this.
to keto?
No, and I did for 5 weeks. Hey, I can't help it if a global pandemic hit, Paul. Okay? Okay.
All right, fair enough.
He did, and then he broke it when he went to the like amusement park or something.
Oh, yeah. I ate the largest funnel cake ever. That's right.
There we go.
That was
and
when
then,
I broke
since
it.
Then,
I see who pays attention to me, Todd. Well done, sir.
Hey, that's why I'm the host. I keep very detailed notes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Josh was going keto after the funnel cake, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
You have no proof of that whatsoever.
He's been eating funnel cakes ever since.
Yeah.
We'll check the archives.
That's what I feel like.
All right, guys. I found a very inspiring, uplifting piece of news that I think is going to make everyone's week.
I can't wait to hear
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is coming to Switch.
What? The pod racer?
Yeah, the pod racing like N64 video game.
Dude, I loved that game.
It's going to be awesome.
I loved that game. I was pretty darn good at that game too. The last level where you can't fall off the sides at all. What is it? Cloud City? Was it that level?
I don't know. My cousin owned the game.
I loved that game.
They were my favorite cousin because of it.
Yeah, that's the one because you were like, I really need to go see Bob because Bob has Pod Racer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always had that one friend that had a game you didn't.
Yeah. When does that come out? I want to know.
I think March 12th, something like that.
Of
next year?
40 or like
No. Like in a month, less than a month from now.
You mean May?
Yeah. I was gonna say, is this time traveling Todd here?
March, April, May. Yeah, May 12th.
I was gonna say a remake of this game coming out in 11 months. I don't know if that would make my week, but coming out in May is a lot better.
Yeah, that's not that far away. Good.
And then I have less uplifting news. Fallout 76 on Steam now has mostly positive reviews.
How is this possible?
I don't know what happened.
I feel bad because I think I was the one that hyped you guys up for Fallout 76. And then we got
I loved Fallout.
Really?
We were all hyped.
We were all
hyped.
Okay,
yeah.
So, all right. Well, I take that guilt and...
I loved 3. I loved New Vegas. I loved 4. And I think Fallout 76 is probably the worst game all 3 of us have played together.
Well, the funniest part about it was it had the same exact glitches that Fallout 4 had. Like, it was the same code. They just put new missions in. Yeah, they copy-pasted most of the game and added multiplayer to Fallout 4. Like, I know the message boards were blowing up about finding the same exact, like, glitches and errors and all of that people had in Fallout 4, which is kind of insane. So hopefully this is saying that they've done some improvement and now the game is fun compared to when it was released. Oh, and then they had all the debacles with like the helmet and the canvas
bag.
And oh my goodness.
Nothing went right with that release.
That's one of the few games that I've actually refunded. I don't refund very many games at all, but that was one that I was actually wrote in and said I want a refund on this game.
And we gave it a fairly good shot. Like, we were all super excited. We played it for a little less than a week, and then just all of us were bummed out by it.
You know what, though? If No Man's Sky can rebound, maybe Fallout 76 can. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't count it out at this point.
I would be very shocked, and it would take a lot for me to dive back into that.
It would take definitely more than mostly positive reviews.
So
to go over that game.
Can I share my sad moment with you guys and everybody else?
Is it also about your weight?
Oh my goodness, that's 2 things I'm sad about now. All right, well, no, this one's not my fault though. The me looking like a balloon lately is 100% on me. So as everybody knows, Valorant's the new hotness. I've been trying to get into the Valorant beta. I have been watching Valorant streams for 8 or 9 days straight. I'm talking like 8, 9, 10 hours a day, leaving the stream up. I don't watch it that long, but cheating the system. Haven't gotten a key. Everybody else around me is starting to get keys. I'm finally like, something is wrong, man. I've got the worst luck in the world. I'm digging around my Riot account to see if is there something wrong? Is there a typo in my email? What's going on? And then lo and behold, I see it. My region is set to China. I don't live in China. I mean, shocker, guys.
Are you sure?
The last time I looked, I don't live in China. But apparently they think I live in China, and they are not giving beta keys out to China. So if anybody out there has a spare Valorant key, they, don't need Josh at multiplayerpodcast.com.
Make a non-China account.
I did, but now I have to resync it, and then I have to watch all over again.
Or if you moved to China, do you think you would get a key that way? Because that works too.
Ooh. I hear airfare there is really cheap right now.
I think it is. I don't think there's too many people going that way.
Too soon.
All right, guys, let's jump into Rainbow Six. So here's the reason why all of you guys are here. Let me read the description from the publisher, and then we can jump into Rainbow Six Siege. Master the art of destruction and gadgetry. There we go. In Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, face intense close quarters combat, high lethality, tactical decision-making, team play, explosive action with every moment, experience a new era of fierce firefights and expert strategy born from the rich legacy of past Tom Clancy Rainbow Six games. Let's start with an overview of the game. Like, what's the point of the game? How is it structured? What's your favorite mechanic?
You've got to locate a bomb with your drone and defuse it. It's my favorite line right there.
Done. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty straight up bomb defusal. There is some hostage missions that you can do where there would be a hostage, and instead of defusing a bomb, you have to get the hostage and get the hostage out. Those are pretty fun too. I think the thing that sets this game apart compared to other ones is a lot of the walls and floors are destroyable. So one of the characters is literally named Sledge, and then you take a sledgehammer and you can just start knocking down walls. Like, just whole open concept on the first floor until you can see the other guys. And then, I mean, the other side of that is they can see you too. So, like, there's this balance of, let me destroy walls and floors that are better for me and worse for them.
Yeah, so for anybody that's never played Rainbow Six Siege, which, surprised that was me until you guys all started playing, and then I felt left out, and then finally I joined in. I was stubborn on that game for some reason, but it is 5v5, attackers and defenders. There's usually a map. It's not very big. It's like a large house or something like that, a bank building. The attackers have to go in, infiltrate the house or the bank or whatever the map is, locate the bomb, and defuse the bomb. Usually you just win by killing the other team, but sometimes you actually plant the diffuser and wind up defusing it while there's still people alive. Defenders fortify their location. You can put reinforcements on walls. You can block walkways and stuff like that. Lots and lots of gadgets that you can deploy. But that's the very simple, basic part is 2 teams of 5, 1 defender, 1 attacker. Who's going to win?
And it's the best of 5 rounds. So if the attackers win, you go into the next round and you play again. And so you take turns where the first 2 rounds, if you're on attack, then rounds 3 and 4, you're on defense. And so it's best of 5, which is kind of fun. And I think the best thing about this game is it doesn't even matter if you played Rainbow 1 Siege through Rainbow 5 Siege. You can just jump right in to Rainbow 6 Siege. Right, guys?
I don't think that's how the numbering works.
Oh,
Rainbow Six is the title of the game.
Oh, okay. Here. I thought it was the 6th in the series.
I mean, there probably has been 6 Rainbow Six games at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm obviously just joking. I do remember playing Rainbow Six 3, which was a little bit of a mouthful and a little confusing, but. Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, I think is really fun. You get to play with your friends. It's highly tactical. And I think one of the key things that we haven't mentioned yet is that the time to kill is incredibly fast. Like last week we talked about the cycle, which has probably the longest time to kill that we've ever played. And Rainbow Six Siege is all the way on the other side. So in this game, it's highly tactical. Your positioning matters. And also along with Todd mentioning how you can destroy walls and ceilings and the roof and whatnot, you can also shoot through them. So a lot of times if you know where an enemy is or think you know, you can actually shoot them through the drywall, which makes for this game standing apart and being very unique, where you're not normally used to that with other shooters.
Yeah, it was funny. Just yesterday, there was a kill where you got the last kill in the game, and on your kill cam, you couldn't really see the person. You just shot through drywall, and then you took them out because you knew they were on the other side of that wall. Mm-hmm. And it's hilarious every single time.
Well, and I think that was one of the most frustrating things for us when we first started playing, because sometimes you would just be alone in an empty hallway, and then all of a sudden you would get shot and killed. And how many times did we think that there was a hacker in the game, and then all of a sudden you watch in the instant replay, and you see that there's actually someone who has a drone on the ceiling, and they saw you, and they marked you, and then they knew where you were, and they shot you through the wall. And so it's kind of interesting. It can be very frustrating when you're on the other end, but there's nothing more satisfying than, playing the system, understanding how it works, and, getting that kill, even though you don't necessarily have line of sight.
Yeah, I was going to say this game, I remember starting off in this game, and Todd and I actually played it long ago with an open weekend. They had just a free to play weekend.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I was so hesitant to play it again when everybody started jumping in, was that weekend was terrible. It was awful. We were getting just murdered, man. Like, all these super high ranked people were in there on the free weekend with new accounts and just poning noobs left and right.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. They, a whole bunch of people created second accounts on the open weekend because it was free. And then they were just in the newcomer lobby, which is set aside for people who are under 50 rank or something like that. And then they were just destroying games because they were experienced.
I just remember thinking, this game's terrible. I hate this game. I don't want to play it. And then it's actually not that bad. There is a very steep learning curve to this game. I remember when we first started playing, I was looking up tips and tricks, Rainbow Six, that kind of stuff. And because I don't like being bad at games, and I felt like I was terrible at this one. And people were saying, you are going to die 1,000 times. And then at 1,001, you're going to start realizing the mistakes you made or why the guy was where he was. And then there's this very slow process of, not peeking that hallway or not peeking that window or understanding that somebody's going to shoot you through the drywall because they drove the drone into the room.
Yeah. Or even what walls to blow up, what walls to fortify. All that stuff just takes time, and time to learn the maps, time to learn your characters. Josh, you looked it up. How many unique characters are there in this game?
There are 54 operators because they just released a couple more for Operation Void Edge. So 54 operators. That's a lot.
Yeah, and all of them have different abilities, drastically different abilities, where some have shields, some heal, some have explosive landmines. Actually, I think it'd be good. We all play Rainbow Six very differently. What characters do you prefer, and how does that go into your play style? So I'll start. One of my favorite characters on defense is Mira. And basically her ability is you can set a mirror into a soft wall, and then you can see it's one-way glass. So the enemy doesn't know you're necessarily behind that mirror. They know there's a mirror in the wall, but not someone standing there. And it's super fun to wait until someone just walks past it. Then you can pop up and shoot through the drywall above it. And that is kind of my, once you learn the map, once you learn where people come from, what hallways are popular, you can put a mirror on that hallway, and then it's very effective.
Yeah, and then conversely, the game does have almost like a system of rock, paper, scissors. There are characters who can either throw a grenade, or they can actually hack the mirror and cause it to open. And so sometimes someone's sitting behind that one-way mirror, but maybe the attackers notice, they pop the mirror open, and then they have a free and clear shot to kill you. So it's kind of like a high risk, high reward type character.
What about you, Paul? Who's your favorite operator?
Well, I was kind of thinking about both offense and defense. On defense, I really like to play Rook, and he's the guy who just puts down an armor pack. because regardless of who you're playing with, that's a character that's always beneficial. Like, there are some characters who specialize in more of like electronics or whatever it might be, and Rook is always helpful because everyone can always use body armor. And so I really like him. And then on attack, by far my favorite character is Thermite. So when you are the team that's on defense, you can put up reinforcers on the drywall, and then guns can't shoot through it. You can't bash it with a hammer. And a lot of characters have explosives to blow holes through walls. Well, if it's reinforced, you actually can't blow through it unless you're Thermite. So a lot of enemy teams will block off a bomb and just assume no one's going to get through this reinforced wall. But with Thermite, he has an exothermic charge that will actually burn through the reinforcement and then blow it up. So you can kind of get a little bit of a surprise jump on the enemy team because they kind of think that area is secure. So I really like playing with Thermite.
And then, rock, paper, scissors. So they can put a reinforced wall. Then you can blow through it with Thermite. But then the next round, they can add basically a battery to it. So it's electric. And basically you can't blow up the wall because anything you put on it dies and gets shocked.
But then once again, there's another operator named Thatcher who throws an EMP grenade, which disables the battery. So it is interesting how the game can change from round to round. You might destroy the enemy team in round 1, and then they pick all your counters, and then they destroy you in round 2, so then maybe round 3, now you pick the counters to their counters, but maybe they're one step ahead of you and assume that. So there is a lot of strategy in this game. And what about you, Josh? What characters do you like to play?
I like, on offense, I pretty much only play Zofia, because she kind of does a little bit of all of it. She has a grenade launcher that can launch flash grenades and concussion grenades. So she's really good at blowing holes through walls to breach through those pretty quick. But she also has flash grenades that if you launch into a room and there is an enemy in that room or close by, they will automatically detonate. So you can break like a window and then launch the flash grenade in there. And if it's instant, there's somebody in that room. And if not, then that room's clear, which is kind of nice. So I like her on offense for the most part. And then defense, I'm kind of torn, man. I like Legion, who drops these invisible like spikes, these poison spikes.
Poison darts?
Yeah. The other team can't see. And if they walk over them, it kind of notifies you that's been sprung. And so it tells you where somebody may be, which I really like. And then the other one is Valkyrie. Valkyrie has cameras. She's got these specialized cameras that she can deploy that are full color 360 cameras. And so it kind of gives you information on where the enemy team is coming from, the attackers. Maybe they're coming up the stairway or down a hallway or something like that. So those are my two favorites. I like to know where the enemies are on defense. Doesn't mean I'm good at shooting them still, but at least I know they're coming before they murder me. So.
Yeah. And I think there's a really cool thing in this game where once you die, you can still look through the cameras. And like when we have 5 people on or, at least a small group on, the dead person will be cycling through cameras and then just saying like, oh, they're in this hallway. Oh, they're over here. So like that Valkyrie character is super awesome because you're adding twice as many cameras up around the house or building or bank or whatever. So even once someone dies, they're still useful because they can help with like positioning or like pointing people out and general strategy in the game.
Yeah, and one interesting mechanic about this is it's really important when you're on defense to know where the attackers are coming from, because they more than likely know where your team's bombs are. Because in the beginning of every round, the attackers send out a drone and they drive the drone around the map and they try to find the bombs or what characters you selected. And then they can actually ping that on the map and alert the rest of the team. And so they will run around and mark things while on defense, you are running around putting up your reinforced walls and maybe putting up your, bulletproof covers or whatever it might be. And so it is interesting that you have that very unique element at the beginning of every round where you're kind of scouting each other out, trying to figure out what you can expect during that round.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a mini game in the beginning where the defenders are trying to fortify their positions and kind of get set up and, make choke points and things like that. The attackers are driving their drones around. And then, it's hilarious because the defenders can shoot the drones, which you should do because then they can't scout you out. But Paul, you discovered pretty early on that if you just drive your drone straight between two defenders and they're both trying to shoot it,
they can shoot each other.
They'll shoot each other. And I just remember you cracking up on that. And you're like, these two guys just shot each other because they were both trying to shoot me. But it's fun. There's something to do in the very beginning, whether you're on attack or defense. And then once the game starts, there's hopefully your team is playing as a team. And not, one guy off on his own. This game is very, very team dependent. And so that makes it a lot better if you have friends to play with. I've been playing a lot of solo matches lately, just trying to learn some of the different operators and stuff. And that does not go nearly as well.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And speaking about the drones, in the very beginning when you guys were still learning the game, would you ever get stuck outside of the house and not be able to get your drone inside? That happened to me so much, dude.
Really?
I would be driving my drone for the full 60 seconds and I'd finally get into the house with 4 seconds left. And then finally after a while, I realized that there's all those little cutouts designed to send your drone in. And then it was okay, that was the problem.
I'm with you, Paul. I got lost many a time. Or looking for the stairs. If you don't know the map real well, you can't find the stairs. You're just driving through the same 4 rooms. Yeah. That's something on this. There's a lot of different maps. This game is very, very in-depth. There's, 54 different operators. I don't even know how many different maps there are. And the thing is, because you're attacking or defending and sight lines are so important, if you don't know the map, you're hosed. I remember literally creating a private match. And I told you guys, because this is when we were, really, really big into playing every night and we had full squads on and, really in the heart of it. And I remember creating a private match and just running around the first 4 maps that you play in Newcomer for 20 minutes straight on each map to just try to learn the layout. Where are the windows? Oh, this is the back of the building. This is the front of the building. Oh, these are where the stairs are. Because you have to know that stuff to feel like you have any grasp on, where to go or what to do. Like I said, it kind of goes back to that. It's not very noob friendly. But once you start to learn, man, it becomes fun too, because then you start to get the layout and where the people are coming from and you kind of know where to look and you're not getting shot through walls right away.
Yeah. That honestly helps so much, just knowing the map. How much would you guys say this game is technical ability because the time to kill is so low versus strategy and just knowledge about the game?
Ooh, that's tough because I've seen some really good people. I think if you know the map and you know the strategy, that trumps the time to kill. So I would say it's 65-35 in the strategy and knowledge of what to do. And then the 35% is the technical skill. Because you can spray and pray and wind up killing. I told you guys the other night, I was shooting somebody. I saw some movement out the window. And I was shooting, and then 2 guys went running by, and 2 of my stray bullets just headshotted each one of those guys. And I got my team was like, "Wow, man, that's awesome!" And I was like, "You guys have no idea. That was pure dumb luck right there."
That's hilarious.
I feel like it's pretty evenly split because there are definitely people who will carry rounds, and sometimes it's hard to know whether it's just FPS skill or knowing the maps, but there's been a lot of games where we play and the MVP is very clear because one person's got 21 kills where the next closest is 2 or 3. So I don't know. I think it's probably a pretty fair mix of both.
I don't know. So for me, the time to kill is hard. I'm learning the maps and all that. And then there's a character special built for me
Yep.
His name's Blackbeard, and he has a ballistic shield that he attaches to his gun. So when you're walking around peeking corners and someone gets the jump on you and kills you, it just destroys your shield, and it gives you like that half a second more to just jump back behind the wall, and then you put on a new ballistic shield and you try again. There's been games, honestly, that I've won because it was 1-on-1, and the person I was fighting took out both of my ballistic shields, and then I beat them on the third time. So it was legitimately, I just picked the right character for me to play because I struggle with that time to kill.
And that's exactly how you have to play this game. When there's so many different characters that have such different abilities, you just have to pick the ones that play to your strengths. Like, I know I'm not a good flanker. I'm not going to run around out in that game, but a lot of people love playing Kavira, who can pop an ability, and no one can hear her footsteps, and so she's this really good stealthy flanker. And then she has an added ability that if you knock someone down, you can then interrogate them, and then before you execute them, it'll mark where all the rest of their teammates are. And so that's a character I would never play, because I know it's not my playstyle, but I would rather hole up inside near the bomb, and I'll put down my traps, and I'll listen and play the slow game, and then try to kill them that way. So at least this game does give you a lot of different ways to play.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun. I mean, you're going to find an operator that fits your play style. Kavira, it's funny because you say you don't like Kavira. I love Kavira because that's just, I love to flank and I love to sneak around and surprise people and, stuff like that. So there are different classes. I mean, there's breachers and there's flankers and defenders and, there's the shield. I think the shield people are really funny. Todd figured out that, was it you or Todd that figured out Clash? That you can play her on defense. She's the only defender that has a shield. But then you can just sit there and electrocute people with it and stand in doorways and they don't know what to do. So that's pretty fun to do too. The offensive guys have one that's, what is his name? Is it Flash? It's not Flash. I can't remember the name of it, but he's got the shield that blinds people. So the guy just like charges through the window and then just runs straight at you. And you're like, what is this guy doing? And then all of a sudden you're blind and then you're dead because there's two people behind him that shot you. I mean, you're going to find operators that you like to play for sure. And there are different play styles on this, which honestly makes the game a lot of fun. And even though it can be hard to get into, it's fun regardless. Like, even if you're getting stomped in the beginning, you can still look down that hallway and try to guard that one room or that doorway or something like that. And it just feels really good to get a kill on this game. It's not like Overwatch where they just respawn right away and you're like, oh, okay, I got a kill. Like they're out for that round and then your team has a significant advantage. So kills in Rainbow Six Siege really feel good, man.
So what do you guys think about with the operators? You start off with none of them. You start off with like a basic generic class that has like no abilities, maybe like barbed wire or something like that. And then you get credits every match, and then you have to unlock new characters just as you gain credits. You'd have to buy them, or you can pay cash and just baller with all of them. But I think that's expensive. That's like $800 to unlock all of them with cash.
It's pricey at this point because, you can either buy credits and just unlock individual characters, or you can buy entire seasons at once because this game will release a cluster of characters every so often. I remember starting off with none, and the first two characters that I bought are probably like the most useless characters, and I was kind of sad. So I unlocked, I still don't even know how to pronounce his name. Montagna?
Yeah.
Montagne?
We just, we're friends. He says call him
Monty, right? And he's just this big guy with a shield and a pistol. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'm on attack. I have a shield. And he's kind of worthless. His pistol sucks. And then on defense, I picked Tachanka, who sets up a stationary turret. And then I quickly learned like, oh no, that's terrible because someone's just going to shoot you through a wall and you're not even moving. So it's like you kind of have to be either mobile or stealthy. And being this giant guy on top of a huge turret is usually just inviting a quick death.
Yeah, he sounds great in theory, doesn't he? Like, dude in the corner with a giant, like, machine gun with a shield on the front, but...
Well, yeah. And they reworked the character because of that.
Because he used to be really popular.
Yeah, he's the bastion of Rainbow Six.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing where it's like a very hard-hitting but stationary character.
I mean, personally, I like the credit system with the unlocking the operators. I thought that was a really cool thing, and it definitely grabbed my attention in the beginning because I really wanted to grind out those credits. You know, and they've got cheaper operators that you can get kind of initially, and then they've got more expensive ones, and the newer the operator, the more expensive they are to purchase. But I mean, you could play this game and never spend a dime on it if you're willing to put in enough time to unlock everybody with credits. But I mean, seeing everybody else play these super cool operators and you're like, oh, I want to try that guy, you know, and then you really start going like, man, maybe I should drop that $20 so that I can unlock like 4 or 5 of them without having to wait either.
Character envy is real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of us hit that issue where we bought this game for very cheap, like $10-ish. So then after we played it for a while, I think all of us went back and spent more money on unlocking characters.
I know I did, because I didn't think we were going to play all that long. I was like, oh boy, all right, I'll spend the $8 or $9 on the, starter edition. And then after 3 or 4 days, I realized, oh, we're actually going to play this a lot. And so I felt like since I paid so little in the beginning, I didn't mind throwing them a few extra bucks.
Yeah, I came in a little bit after you guys, and I definitely had character jealousy. So I think I bought just $20 worth of credits, which unlocked. I went kind of cheap. I went for some of the less expensive operators. So I think I got like 5 or 6 with the money that I spent. And then just from playing, I was able to unlock another probably 5 or 6 just with earned credits.
Well, I spent $200 and I just unlocked all of them.
You did not. How did your wife feel about that, Todd?
Yeah.
It's fine. I had to remortgage the house, and we're good.
Your daughter can go to community college.
Yeah. It's
Daddy's
the same.
Play Rainbow Six.
Yeah. I bought a whole bunch of the cheap characters just because I wanted a bunch of characters to try and to switch around. And like we said, like there's a lot of like this character counters this character, and then counter, and then counter. I think that was enough. And I felt like I was being gypped on some of those because it's like, if only I had Twitch to shoot out, the battery so we could blow through the wall, or only if I had, this character to counter that one. And that was a little hard at first when it's like, I know what character I should be picking, but I can't because I don't have them unlocked. And that was hard for me. I think
one of the things I struggle with the most, like I said, this game's super fun. It's right up my alley. It's definitely the kind of game I enjoy. And what I love is they actually set aside matchmaking for newcomers. I mean, you have the newcomer matchmaking, which is great. And they say, hey, look, we get that you're not going to be good at this game and it's going to be really tough. And so we're going to matchmake you with other newcomers that haven't, you have to be level 50 or under, which is great in theory until you get freaking Smurfs in newcomer lobby, and then you're playing this match and then these guys, because they always show a replay too, right? And if you die, they show where the guy was, show him shooting you and all that. And then you just see these Smurfs come in and just obliterate you. And then you're like, come on, man, this is newcomer lobby. Like, what are you doing in here?
But how many times did people accuse us of smurfing once we got good enough, and then other people were playing brand new recruits and we were still low enough to do newcomer? There were multiple games that people are like, oh, nice smurfing. So, it is interesting that I feel like the talent level from 0 hours to 10 hours is enormous, but then even just 10 hours to 50 hours is so vastly different. Like, this game almost has that unlimited, skill ceiling, kind of like Rocket League. Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's no better feeling than for someone to call you a Smurf and then just being like, that's not true, but thank you.
Yep.
But to Josh's point, I'm pretty sure there was someone we played with yesterday whose name was Smurfin Bronze.
Oh, wow.
It was Copper Smurf. Copper
Smurf. That was
his name. Yep. Yeah, he was just bold-faced about it. He was like, "Yep,
that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here, guys."
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna kill all
Copper
of you.
Smurf. Unfortunately, he was on the other team, and they won because he got an insane amount of kills.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a little bit about how we feel about the game. Paul, how does the community feel about the game?
Yeah, I got a couple user reviews here that I thought we could talk about. The first one that I have here is a positive review on Steam, and this person wrote, "Want to lose any and all sense of logic, like playing casual against platinums, all the while playing with teammates who don't know which way is up? This game is perfect for that. From yelling, 'How is that not a headshot?' to, 'My teammate's an idiot, I'm never going to play this game again,' knowing darn well you're going to be back on the game in about 20 minutes. Game's great."
I have totally said both of those things. And I'm sure had those things said about me as well.
Oh, yeah. That guy's got to be hacking. Why does my team suck so bad? And, it doesn't matter. The round ends and you just get sucked right back in.
The worst feeling is when you're looking at a window and you start shooting, and then your teammate's running and they run in front of you shooting.
Oh, it happens all the time.
And then you kill them. You friendly fire that teammate. And when we were first playing, we were killing each other left and right just because we weren't paying attention. We didn't realize we were running in front of someone. We didn't realize someone was running in front of us. So I've definitely been on both ends of killing Paul and Paul killing me unintentionally.
I was going to say,
absolutely.
In the years of playing video games with you guys, if there's one thing I've learned, it's if you run in front of Paul, he's gonna shoot you still.
Don't cut him in line.
Well, I mean, that's true. I can't tell you. And I mean, it's my fault. I'm not blaming Paul, but you walk in front of Paul when he's shooting. He's not stopping shooting just because you got in the way.
Eyes closed, guns blazing, baby. Don't get in front.
So.
Well, there is a cool thing about this game where the first friendly fire that you do, you kill your teammate. But then after that, they can say that was intentional. So if that person shoots someone again, it damages their health.
Yeah, you hurt yourself,
which is
by
hilarious.
Shooting your teammates. Yeah.
Well, have you guys ever seen, this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but have you ever seen people who will trick the enemy team into killing one of their teammates? Because the game has global chat. And so you can actually put enough spaces that somebody put like bracket, team, hey guys, this is Brandon 456. I'm going to be AFK and don't want to get kicked. Can someone shoot me? And they'll send it. And then immediately it shows Brandon 456 has been killed by friendly fire. And I just think that's so funny that people started doing that back when this game first released. I think everyone's caught on. That's psychological games, right? Right there. All right. Next review here is a negative review. And this one really spoke to me when we were talking about character unlocks. So this is what upsets me about Rainbow Six Siege as a casual player. I bought the starter edition like a moron. That's on me, but I wasn't sure I'd like the game. Turns out I do. Now that I realize I like the game, I want to fully purchase it. Turns out you can't upgrade starter to standard. The game legit punishes people who want to play it, who paid money to basically test if they would enjoy the game. Why should I pay $55 for a $40 edition? Just let me pay $25 extra for the $40 edition. I already paid money. Why are you punishing me for wanting to spend more? And I totally felt that way after buying just the starter edition. I think half of our friends bought the higher edition, which when it was on Steam sale was amazing. And I think we kind of felt left out where we really wish we had just spent the extra $2 or $3 to get the extra 5 or 6 characters.
Well, yeah, especially on Steam sale, like the upgrade was $1 or $2 and you get 8 more characters than you would otherwise. And then there was like different tiers where you could pay like $10 more. So I think most of us just paid like the 2 or 3 above base to unlock a few more characters. Which, since I played the free weekend, I was like, oh, like I like this game. I'm willing to pay another couple bucks for it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
see,
I it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't play any of the free weekends, so I had no idea. And after hearing how much Josh hated it, I just didn't really bother until it kind of came back around. All right, and then these next two reviews are my favorite. I have a total of 4 for this week. All right, these are both positive reviews. Start a round, decent team comp. Round ends 5 seconds later as hostage is shotgunned in the face. Teammate was surprised to find the hostage was mortal. Next round starts. Same guy picks fuse. You know where this is going.
Oh, no.
Sneaking through the house, I hear upstairs, tunk, tunk, tunk. No, hostage. Announcer, the hostage has been killed.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, if anyone doesn't know what fuse does, fuse will actually drill a hole into a wall and shoot bombs out the other side. And you might unintentionally set that where you shoot bombs into the hostage room. And if you kill the hostage, your team loses. So I thought that was funny.
So that reminds me, we had a game that it was very early on for us playing, and we were trying to figure out how to play hostage. So we were running through, we cleared out 4 out of the 5 guys, and we were like clearing out the room that the hostage was in, and we're like, we don't know where the last guy is. All right, let's, get the hostage and get out of here, and then we can win the game that way. Well, when we were in the room, the actual guy protecting the hostage was in, I think a bathtub?
He was laying down in the bathtub.
Laying down. And then he just popped up and shot the hostage. Basically in a sense of I'm taking my ball and going home. If I'm not getting out of here, no one's getting out of here. Yep. And we didn't know what happened until the replay. And then the replay just shows him laying in a bathtub with 4 people in the same room as him.
Yep.
Not seeing him laying down in the bathtub. And then he just, decided to self-sabotage in the funniest of ways.
It really was. It was such a funny instant replay because we literally had no idea why the round ended. All right, and then my last review here. Todd, I think you'll get a kick out of this one. Quite literally had a guy on my team named Kool-Aid Man, and the only character that he played was Thermite. He proceeded to scream into his microphone, "Oh yeah!" every time he breached. This was the best match I've ever played in any multiplayer game, 12 out of 10. Update, I found him and befriended him. We are now a Sledge Thermite Kool-Aid tag team. Enemies beware.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That's great. All right, and then we always like to try to guess what percentage of reviews are positive on Steam. So I jotted down my answer. I believe since I won last time, I go first.
You have to go
Is that
first.
Correct?
Yep.
All right, so my guess that I jotted down was 88%. I think the game's, for the most part, beloved. I know it has some haters. It's also in conjunction with Uplay. So even if you buy it on Steam, you still have to have the Uplay launcher. And I think it's going to be right around 88%.
Todd.
All right. Josh, no, you.
What?
You won before
right.
Paul.
I'm
the
say
loser of the group.
I'm going to say 90%. It's a really good game. It's hard to get into, but it's such a fun game, man. I mean, the only thing you could complain about is people stomping Smurfs or Smurf stomping people. You really shouldn't stomp Smurfs. They're little. They don't deserve it. So I'm going to say 90%.
And Paul, what was yours?
88%.
You should go
88. 88. No way. Oh yeah, that's the smart decision in this. I'm gonna go 87.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's high.
That is high. Maybe.
First of all, I'm personally offended that you both bookended me.
you
like
let
that.
You win again.
However,
no.
I totally goofed. The actual is 88%. That was not my guess. I actually read the wrong number. So Todd wins. Todd was only off by 1%.
Done.
I actually guessed 90, like Josh, but I read the wrong number.
Well,
so Todd,
I want to change my guess then, since we have overriding guesses.
To 91.
Yeah. So we were all super close, but Todd's the winner.
All
right, guys.
Time for smooth voice. Todd, you ready?
Oh yeah. This segment is Make Love, Marry, or Murder. We're going to go through and say if we would like to love, marry, or murder the game. The segment's fairly straightforward. So as the winner...
There's no other rules.
It's in the name. So as the winner, I'm going to say marry. This is a long-term game. The more you play it, the more you get out of it. If you sink the time into it, if you invest in the marriage, really, learn about the other individual, what they like, their love language, if you will, then you'll get rewarded for it. Like if you learn the maps in this game, you unlock characters, you know how to counter other characters, you learn, different sightlines and vantage points and all that. Like you just get better at it, and it feels good once you start getting those kills that way. So, a strong marriage from me.
I'll follow that up with telling you that my love language, Todd, is bullets and grenades. And flanking. And all of that good stuff. So I'm going to marry it as well, because this is a game. I mean, this is a phenomenal game. Like, honestly, it's such a good game. It is different enough from other shooters to make you crave playing this over some of those. It's like Todd said, the more you put into it, you will get better. You just have to be willing to put the time in. And, it's going to start off a little shaky. It's going to start off a little rough. But as you figure things out, it's going to get better. And then it's going to be this beautiful long-term relationship. I'm going to marry it.
I totally agree. It's marry for me as well. I think the game is well worth the cost. There is so much time that you can play this game. And not only that, you have that progression of unlocking characters that'll keep you interested. And then even just the fact that the newcomer lobby, which you play for a long time, it's only 4 maps. And then all of a sudden you realize when you start joining the other queues that there's all these other maps you haven't even played yet. And you can sink 50 hours into this game before you even really start to tap into everything this game has to offer. And so I feel like you can play so much just to learn the maps, and then you can start to work on your skill. And you don't have to have other friends who play this game. I think it's always better when you play with your buddies. But even if you don't, this game's fantastic. I would marry it every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
That's a consensus marry. Once
Done.
Again.
Lock it in.
All right, guys. Now the next question. Is it worth the price? So right now on Steam, it is $20.
For which pack?
All right. $20 for normal, for basic, $30 for deluxe, $55 for gold, and $90 for ultimate, which I'm assuming is all the characters. All right, let's start at the $90. Would you pay $90 to unlock all the characters?
No.
Not unless you knew that you loved this game. If you knew you loved all of the characters and you were going to play this for 400 hours, then sure, $90 is worth 400 hours worth of
entertainment. But then you would have the credits to unlock
that's
other
true.
characters.
All right, fair point. So no, I wouldn't pay 90.
So 90's out. Let's go down the list.
90's way out. Yeah.
55.
No.
Okay, yep, no. 30. Would you pay $10 more to unlock 8 characters?
I was going to say, that's the sweet spot for me. And it's not that you won't get entertainment out of this game. I mean, we all just rated it a marry. So I don't think we're trying to slander the game whatsoever. But what we're saying is, knowing how the progression works and the unlocks that you get, if you start in and you jump in with $30 and you have those 8 characters bonus on top of the starting characters, that to me makes the most sense, because you're going to very quickly be able to unlock another 3 or 4 just from playing for a few hours on top of that.
Exactly. It's just not worth the extra 60 whatever dollars to jump all the way up to the highest. I would pay 30, no doubt about it. And this game does go on Steam sale where you can get it quite a bit cheaper. But I think it's well worth up to $30. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I'd pay for the 30 pack. I think it'd be worth it to pay $10 more to unlock those 8 characters.
Yeah, and even if you don't have the money for that and you're a budget gamer, I know for me, most of my life, that's where I was at. $20 is a great price for this game. If you don't want to pay for the extra characters, not a problem at all. You'll quickly unlock a couple. You can only pick one character at a time, so it's not like you need 54 characters. So, it's well worth the 20. If you can swing the extra 10, it's well worth it. But either way, I would recommend it to just about anybody.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Let's go to the leaderboard. This is
going to be tough.
All right. All of us loved this game. It was a merry all around. So I'm going to read the top 5 and then, we can assign it in there. So number 1 is Apex, 2 Rocket League, 3 Rust, 4 Warzone, and 5 Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
Oh, man.
I think it fits in the top 5.
I agree. Yeah.
It's so close with Warzone at 4, right?
Yeah.
It's either right above or right below.
That's exactly where I am. I'm having a real hard time. Like, Warzone's the new hotness, and then Rainbow Six Siege been around for a long time. So it's like, how do you balance?
I mean, I am all for Rainbow Six over Warzone. I enjoy battle royales, but I'm getting burnt out. Like, Rainbow Six is different than every other game. There's not like a other type of Rainbow Six where I can be Sledge and then take out the entire floor and then just rain bullets down. That doesn't exist in another game.
It doesn't. This game's definitely standalone.
My only counter to that, and I'm not saying that this is swaying my opinion, but my only counterpoint to that would be, you cannot be very good at Warzone and still have a lot of fun in that game. Whereas if you suck at Rainbow Six, it's gonna suck for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
this takes a lot more effort than Warzone does. I'll give you that.
I think it's a better game than Warzone. It's a more complete game.
Look at Rust. You can't go into Rust and have fun. You have to,
that's true.
You have to die to yourself, really, before you can start having fun in Rust.
I think I would rate it above Warzone.
What about price? Does that factor in? Because Warzone's also free. So that's why I feel like they're so close. I agree Rainbow Six Siege is better. If they were both free, I would say that.
But on the Steam
sale, you can get it under $10.
You guys got it for
and
$8,
under $10, is very cheap, very affordable.
It's just so tough, man. I'm gonna say I think it's slightly better than Warzone. It's an esport game. I mean, this game is an esport. I mean, Rainbow Six Siege there's $1 million prize pools for this, so I think I would rate it above Warzone, but it's real close in my opinion.
All right, guys. Lock it in at 4.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Are we in agreement? Oof.
Lock it. Right. Yeah. I mean, we have a solid top 5 now. Apex, Rocket League, Rust, Rainbow Six, and Warzone.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a good 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for any other games to get in there.
We've graduated from a list of 10 we said last time to now we have a top 5. That's a legit top 5.
All right. Well, that wraps up the leaderboard segment for our show today. If you want to view all of our rankings, you can find them on our site at multiplayerpodcast.com. We're still going through the submissions for the raffle. So if you check our Twitter, we should have it announced on our Twitter by time the show releases. And then we will announce the winner and read the review on our show next week. If you're interested in more multiplayer podcast content, don't forget to subscribe to the Multiplayer Podcast on your podcasting app for new episodes. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Multiplayer Podcast. We'd love to engage with you guys more. And it's a good way to find out about winners and just any raffles or anything we have going on. And then next week, we're talking about Civilization 6. Josh, do you want to tell them about Civ 6?
This is like a 4X game. You start from, nothing, and you get resources and technology and research, and you interact with other governments around you, and you try to build up this amazing world and conquer everybody through military might alone. Not really, but that's how I play.
Wield the power of Gandhi to bring about nuclear warfare.
I say that's the way I play. Surprise, surprise. So, but yeah, no, it's a very, very well-known game. It's an amazing game. It should be a lot of fun to talk about. I'm pretty sure that this will test our friendship because I am going to attack one of you guys.
I'm in. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, diplomacy is a part of the game. You don't have to win through power and might. You can win by being friends with everyone.
Never.
Todd, do you want to have an alliance?
Never.
Yes.
Dang it.
We're declaring it now.
Dang it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good luck, Josh.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm peaceful.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See you guys.
Paul, you have to say bye to them.
Oh, yeah.